breast, and the green and white upon my chest. It's such a joy for us to see, 'cause they play football.
Oh, the Celtic way. Hello, welcome to another edition of Terrace TV Tic Talk, a podcast. It is Toby here. Very lovely guy we've got on tonight, the Dazzler himself. Dan, how are we doing?
Not bad, mate. How are you? Good to be on this.
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling a wee bit buoyant, obviously. So we'll start talking to people to know what day of the week this is and what's been happening there. Well, welcome along, mate. Before we start, a wee shout out to my sponsor, WeFrames. If you're looking for any Celtic stuff done, or you're looking for that special gift for the someone in your life, this is what you're looking for. So WeFrames. This is the limited edition, the Maestro. Paul McStay has signed it, as you can see there. He's signed it. So he's signed it. All his strips it more, a wee bit about him as well, and get that. You can get it tailored to whatever you want. Father's Day, Mother's Day, Valentine's Day for that loved one, somebody in your team and your family loves Celtic as much as you do. That's it. Another one coming up. Brunei 2007 to 2021. Again, signed with about the man himself. Captain, leader, legend. So there is things like that for sale on the WeFrames Facebook. So big shout out to Michael and thanks very much for sponsoring us as always, the show. But we're going to get right into it. Let's just talk about the game tonight first of all. Before we go, we'll give you 5 minutes for the game. Obviously tonight it's Europa League. We were out anyway. But how do you feel, Dan, after watching that game, mate?
See, I thought today we were lambs to the slaughter after it. I thought the only one team's winner there in that stadium this season, that's Bayern Munich. So after we gave ourselves the uphill mountain to climb, I was like, it's not going to happen. Then when the team sheet came out, you're like, right, we've gave up on it. Last that wasn't it. We went down fighting. And do you know, my biggest mantra for Celtic is, don't care if we get beat, win, lose or draw, but you're going to die trying. For me tonight, that's what happened. We went down and we went down with a fight.
After the perfect start, couldn't ask for a better start. Obviously, the ball wide and then putting it inside for McCowan to stick it away 31 seconds in the clock. You think to yourself, oh, hold on here, wait a minute. This something could happen here.
A few minutes later, the attack, the ball just couldn't get under Maeda's feet. If that's 2 in the first 6 minutes, you're like, wow.
Aye. I agree with you, no, mate. I like the changes as well. I thought we were when I say we were very on the ball, but I thought we were confident enough and we were competent. We didn't look under a lot of pressure at times with a lot of the ball. You know what I mean? Other people might say different, but that's just my opinion. And I think that the changes that were made at the right times as well to give people opportunity. And I like the fact as well, the longer the game went, we changed up a wee bit and we went to 2 up top, so to speak. We bringing on Iniacho as well. And that showed that, as you say, if you're going to go, let's go trying here. You never know what could happen. I mean, you could nick a wee goal. I know they scored, obviously, but it was like offside and all that. And that was mad as well, bringing a guy on at that point when they're attacking and you're waving him on in his own and offside position. So
I was up shouting at the telly for that one. I'm sure we won't go for the colourful language that was getting used.
Aye. So I'm glad the outcome. This is the day we won away. I loved it. I heard the fans getting it big time, man. It was brilliant. It's great to hear that as well. Hearing the boys enjoy themselves there. I've been there many a time where we've not anything to sing about, and you just sing for the sake of singing because you're backing your team. And you know what that's like as well, mate. So on the whole, mate, I thoroughly enjoyed it the night. I thought we did really well, and you know what, it sets us up for Sunday as well. Gives you a wee bit more,
doesn't it? Gives you a wee bit more boys, a wee bit like, all right, okay, maybe we're not as bad as what you think.
Aye, and it was with a changed up team as well. You know what I mean? So again, and Stuttgart were no mugs. They played really well the first leg. I know we had a few mistakes and that and things, but they still had a lot of the ball tonight as well, and they still had potential to hurt us because you've seen that with the chopped off goals and that. So I'm optimistic. I enjoyed it. I'm optimistic, as I say, about Sunday, but that will take care of itself, and we'll go on to that later on in the show. So first up, obviously, growing up a Celtic man, you're part of the Bothwell Emerald CSC then. So growing up for you, where were you growing up as a kid? Where was your area growing up, and what was that like?
From 1 to 10 was View Park. So View Park is quite a big Celtic area. It's probably most of that area around Lanarkshire is apart from probably Belsill, it might be a wee bit more mixed. So it was quite Celtic. It was quite in the gas flat in View Park was a lot of Celtic fans, so it was quite you were in numbers there. Then I moved through to Baillieston, where it came a wee bit more mixed, and most of my pals being Rangers fans in the 90s. You know what I mean? So it was quite tough. Yeah, and it was just, I think I've still got PTSD for it. Like even you still think, you know what I mean? It's unbelievable how the last 25 years has been considered what we had to endure in the 90s. So it's the best moments.
Your first memory of Celtic again, how did you become a Celtic fan? A lot of people would say it's your dad, it's your upbringing, it's your ma, it's your aunties, your uncles. Would that be the case for you then? Would your family be steeped in Celtic, mate?
Bred Celtic, no, like my and dad come from a Celtic background and a Celtic family. So again, there was no other option for me growing up. It was probably as soon as I could, Celtic baby grows, probably bibs and all that. So there was no choice. You don't pick your team.
It picks you. That's it, mate. That's it. And the colours, you know what I mean? The colours is what you're always brought into. And people say, it's like, I'm totally different. And I'll share this on every podcast. And because people don't know me, actually, every person that I'm speaking to doesn't know that. But my dad was a Rangers man. You know what I mean? Then I got took to a Rangers game. Wasn't for me. Got took to a Clyde game. Wasn't for me. And I get told, "Do you want to go to Celtic games?" I went, "No," because if there's any bad as the other two I went to see, I'm not interested. But it wasn't. It was that time you get there, and as soon as you're there, Celtic is a total different entity. It picks you basically. You know what I mean? You don't pick it. It picks you. It's in you. And it's either in you or it's not in you.
Especially with Celtic being right on your doorstep, or more than
I know. I say to people, I'm so lucky, mate. You know what I mean? We're so lucky to live where we live and be there on that door. So,
like, I listened to one of your podcasts today with another fella, and you were saying like you went to every game in the centenary season, and I don't think I went to any games during that. I'm a couple of years younger than you, and it was like, obviously my mum and dad were young when they had me, so they didn't take me as many games what I'd have liked to have went growing up. So it wasn't, obviously, as you know, as we'll probably talk about later on, I've made sure my daughters had the Celtic upbringing that I went on to the games.
So, recollections, you said, what would be the first game? Can you remember the first game that you attended?
I'd see it's one of the ones where I was a bit very young, I don't really remember, but the game at Celtic Park that I kind of remember was in the main stand. It was a one each game with St Mirren, and the first goals were scored in the first 10 minutes. And Celtic went 1-0 up, and then they equalised, and that was it. And apparently, I went to Dundee away. Was away, and I kind of remember that, but I only remember just wee bits and that. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Probably, but I'd moved down to England, done all my high school down there. And then when I moved back up, I was 16. My first real games was in the temporary West Stand. So I was like, my uncle used to take us around all the pubs selling papers. I used to get my wages for that, and it was straight into Celtic Park, buy a ticket for a temporary West Stand at 11 quid. I always remember that. And be it, and I think Hibs 5-0. The Hibs had the purple, big Pierre Van Hooijdonk and all that was playing.
Right.
The Hibs had the purple strips on. There was a few games in the temporary West Stand is where I really started to obviously make my own way and gone myself.
I remember I liked to used to get some noise off it, everybody rattling their feet. And I know people say, but that was ridiculous having a wee storm like that. But no, it got the extra 3, I think it was maybe 2,000 people into the game, and it added to a bit more atmosphere, and it meant another 2,000 could follow Celtic, could see Celtic, because we were still in the transition of building the full ground, you know what I mean?
When in that season as well, to my first ever, well, at the time it was an Old Firm, but it's obviously changed to a Glasgow derby now. and it was the one with Lambert and Burley, with Lambert the screamer, and that was my very first ever Celtic Rangers game. And
I can
I was
see it.
in
Hit the ball right in the top corner, ran up the touchline. Know what I mean?
My pal Big Tony, who you know went to the same school as, he gave me his ticket. He was away for the weekend somewhere. He gave me his ticket, and I'm telling you, it was brilliant, one of the best now. Because again, it was back in then when you've got PTSD, thinking that Rangers are going to dominate, and that would have been their 10 in a row season, if you remember right, as well.
Aye.
And when we won that game, it was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And I don't know if I would just turned 17. I'd have just turned 17 at the time.
Aye. Mate, thinking back, these are always like special moments. I was speaking to a boy on a previous one and all. Jamie fell off the underside postcard, and he was saying the same. Is that games might not mean a lot to people, and certain games mean a lot more than others. But you remember a game for what it was, and a turning point, or a game. And obviously the Derby games are massive games, but like we were talking about the St Johnstone game where Larson cut in for the outside, scored the goal, Bratbag scored this. We won 2-1, we won the league, and that stopped to 10. But he said, I know it wasn't a great game, but it was a massive, massive game for us because that's the one he always remembers. So I just like that. But obviously, growing up through the years, you say there at that point in the 90s, and then getting into the 2000s, what would be your like your strip? What would be your iconic strip? You know what I mean? We've got strips in the background here. What would be your? Obviously, you've got one of your favourites. I know that. But strips wise, what sticks out for you?
I think two sticks out for me. The broken hoops one. I think that was in the Mark O'Neill's second season. And
NTL,
then the bobbly one, the recalled one.
The recall.
Remember that one as well. I went in 2003 maybe. I went in to Celtic Park at midnight to get that, and I got it, and then it got recalled, and I was like, I've not got my receipt, but you just took it back, and I'm like, geez, there's the other one.
Didn't take it back, mate.
Did you know? You still got it?
Aye.
Did you know? See, like in hindsight, now obviously knowing the way like classic strips have went now, then that would have been like the perfect one to keep for that reason.
Obviously, didn't take it back. Pure madness. The reason I didn't take it back is because I'm not taking it back. Only when my Celtic taps got to games. I didn't wear them out, but people would play football on the street. No, I didn't do that. I wore them going to the football, and that was it. You know what I mean? So it was bobbly, but a guy showed me you just use a razor.
To
shave them off, and then that was it. But I went and bought the next one. They released the new one, but it wasn't bobbly, through Umbro, and I went and got that. I don't know what that is now because that was all that. But the NTL puffy bit was all mad. It was all mangled in the washing machine and all that, and falling apart. But
see,
it's amazing what they can do now with strips. You know what I mean? For instance, where is it? The Tenants. See the Tenants one. I've still got my original. So the Tenants bit came off it, and I seen a guy on the Facebook doing the thing, and I sent it to him, and he sent me it back. Man, it was absolutely just you wouldn't know the difference.
I've got a big bag of old strips. Like there's one of the canvas like messages bags, and it's just full of old strips. What we do is every time I've got a family party, I'm sure I'll send it to you. Every time I've got a family party, I got to put them on everybody to get a big photo with them. You know what I mean? So it's like, right.
Good stuff.
But do you know like a pivotal tap? Now you're talking about like pivotal games. Not a pivotal tap that really went. And I've just gone through listening to your podcast earlier on the day. See the one with like the big hoop, the wee hoop, and then the big one, the C.R. Smith, the one with I think the one like I always remember Pierre Van Hooydonk and Andres Tom and all that with that one. That was a year.
That was the one we won the Scottish Cup. We won the Scottish Cup 94-95 season. That was the year. It had C.R. Smith was the second season on it, so it was big hoop, wee hoop.
Umbro was on it. Was Umbro on the second season?
No, I'm sure it was. It was Umbro. C.R. Smith was the first, that's right, and then Umbro was the second. And then I remember we played with that, and it had Celtic FC on it. So it actually Celtic FC on it, because there's pictures out there with that and all. But I liked that and all, because Brian McLaughlin and that played in that team. And that's what I always remember, because Big Pierre was stoning like that later on with Brian McLaughlin, the difference in size. So I like that type of mate.
And like you say, it's pivotal, because before that, it was the Huns and their dominance, and then they were their dominance, and then that was the first. Tommy Burns was the first manager to put belief back in Celtic. No, then obviously he went away. Then we came back with Wim Jansen. Obviously, I can't remember who was after Tommy Burns.
Dr.
Joe.
Dr. Joe. Lou McCarry. We had Lou McCarry on offer a period, remember? Was that a 4 Burns?
But he was before, because it was Burns, and then the next season, wasn't that good. That was when the Huns won 9 in a row. Is that would have stopped 8 that season, and then they won 9, and then the next season with Wim Jansen, the rest is history.
Our biggest disappointment would be drawing all your games under 12. We saw great football, some great style.
Ross and Kilmarnock are the ones that you can pin it to.
And then Lawson, obviously maybe Rangers and things like that. But you're looking back at that, and you're thinking we had great players, great times, and we spoke about it last night. Your DeCanios, your Cadets, Hoydonks, Andres, Tom, brilliant players, but just it didn't gel. Big Pierre was outstanding, free kick after free kick, and it was superb. But obviously going through that, so at the times, who were you going to the games? Were you going to games with your mates and that, and the part of the bus?
Well, again, I was probably a bit of a loner. Obviously, we grown up and then we gone with Bayless and having Rangers pals. I was probably a bit of a loner. So I was just getting my tickets myself, going myself, and then finding myself doing the Gallagate myself. You know what I mean? And then once you're in Bairds and you're having a few pints and you're drinking with people, you're never on your own for long. I used to love that. And I honestly
never drink alone in it, never walk alone, never drink alone, especially in Bairds. It was, and you were always like, once you're in, somebody would say hello to you, all right, you man, what's happening? And come here and sit with us. You know what I mean? And before you knew it, as you would say, you've been in it week after week, and you get to know people, and then that's sure you're just part of the company.
Baird was, do you know what? I wish they knew, right? Baird was still open with smartphones, right? Because for me, Baird was like a museum. I used to love just going in, buying a pint, and then just walking around, looking at all the old pictures and all the old games. And I wish now, with like the way smartphones are now, you could be Googling the games and then reading more into the games the way.
Aye. That's it. Aye, like a picture, that would be the thing. So imagine a pub now with that memorabilia on the walls, right, as you're saying, and beside it, you could have a QR code or something where you would scan it, and you could maybe watch a highlight of the game. That's a thing for you, mate. Could be a wee option for you to get into a bit of business. Aye, let's get that done and dusted, get that patented. But I'm looking at stuff I know and all, and I think, I wish that was. I seen a post today about Fratelli's in Cambuslang. Says it was built for 600,000 or whatever, but it needs a lot of refurbishment, doesn't it? That was Tully's. I used to go there when it was Tully's when I was younger. Absolutely outstanding.
Well, that's what Tully's is.
Aye. So there was 2 Tully's. There was a Tully's at Coatbrig and all.
And that's the one I
know. Going to Dazzler and doing it. It was doing the side on it, and heard that, and then the Tully's out here, was up there. But it was always, I used to go to Tully's, or I used to go to Brazen Head back in the day. But I love Bairds as well. I used to go down the Bairds on a Saturday as well. And that was the thing. My old man used to drink in the row. He was a Rangers man. He used to drink in, and Tam Cad. Somebody said something. Tam Cad said that. Who? Him earlier. He said, that's Toby's da. He's got a wee Rangers badge on his thing. He said, still Toby's da. You know what I mean? He was waiting on him coming in to have a pint with his boys. So things like that. But growing up, mate, it's an experience, as you say, going through that period of time where we didn't really do anything. We won one cup, and we won the Scottish, stopped them doing the 10, which is great for us, and then basically onwards for there, it's like you reach your peachy for a wee while, and then it's just been boom us. And people always say, but I think people always say as well, Celtic have had it easy. I haven't had it easy at all, because we've had it easy the last 20 years because we've made it easy. We've went out, we've done the damage, we've bought the players, we've fought tooth and nail to win what we've won, and I just think it's been great. And a lot of people will probably use negatives to that and say, that you're spoiled. And I wasn't spoiled for the 20 year before it, so to speak. You know what I mean? When my team wasn't really doing really well, and the team that was our rivals was beating us week in, week out, year in, year out, winning doubles all the time. And people always say, trebles I use. All right, you win a quadruple treble. It's easy, is it? If it was that easy, how's nobody else done it?
Well, do you know, see that quadruple treble? It's no spoke about enough, no lauded enough. Do you know what I mean? I think everybody was too focused on the 10. But see that quadruple treble? That was bigger. That was absolutely bigger than 10. See if somebody says to me at the start of the run, listen, you'll get 9 in a row, you'll not get a 10, but you'll get a quadruple treble. Geese that before, you know what I mean? Or if I had the choice of the quad treb or the 10 in a row, I'd have picked the quad treb every time. You know what I mean? That's that's 12 cups in a row.
Aye, without reply. And we didn't win, and that's what I always say. People say, but you won it. We didn't win it till they came into the league. Didn't they have to have until they came into the league?
Oh, I was going to say,
and
we only
saying,
won.
It was so easy. It was only when they came in we won the trebles, and people are saying that. And that's what I said. It was that easy. How did we know win them before when you won there? Know what I mean? So I agree with you, mate. The quadruple isn't spoken about enough. Not I mean, for me,
was it somebody says, some Rangers fan says to Jock's team, you only won it because you get 5 Protestants in your team, and Jock says, well, you never won it with 11.
That's it. That's true. I did say that, mate. So I just think growing up, for me anyway, East End of Glasgow as well, you're East End with Baileyson. It's hard, there's a big mix of different the fans in that, but it was torrid time back then, mate. So moving on to obviously following Celtic and getting to where we're, like, not today, but moving on into that period of the early 20s and that, going to games. Is there any games that stick out? You know what I mean? For say like 2005 to the new. You know what I mean? For you can really remember.
I've got 2 games, right? My favourite ever away game domestically was at Tynecastle. The McManus scored 2 last-minute goals.
Aye.
It was absolute bedlam in the Roseburn that day. The Nakamura's free kick against Man United.
Brilliant, you crying.
I fell about 3 rows down. My pal leaned down, picked me up. And I didn't realise until I get out the stadium in the house that night that I gripped on my jeans and my leg. There was like blood running down my, and I did not, because of the adrenaline, and I just didn't realise.
That was some night, mate. There's a video of me on YouTube of me and my mate, and it shows you it's all Nokia phone. You're recording yourself going down the stairs, and it's on YouTube somewhere. And it's like you're like, check state of that video, but see, every time I watch it, me and Ryan see it, you're like, remember that night, man? That was something else. You know what I mean? The whole like going to the pub before it, having a few beers, meeting up with people, getting to the game, and then that happens, and you're like, just as you say, like mayhem is ensuing and all it. People are just kind of for nothing. It was some freak. It's not as if he just did it one. He done it down there and all. You know what I mean? So outstanding, man. That was amazing.
That was the season, I believe, that I'll never ever get to do again. I went to every European game in that trip. So it was Benfica, Man United, Copenhagen, and then the last 16 was against the AC Milan when Kaka put us
AC Milan. Kaka
took them to extra time.
That's right. I was in that one. I was right at the ultras, the Milan ultras, and the away end. I was with Jamie, so was Danielle. Aye, we were in there, man. That was mental, absolute mental.
That was a good trip.
That was a good season. And the reason I went to that, because I didn't get to go to Benfica because I was on holiday. It's pure billing. Absolute billing.
Well, wasn't it so? Aye, Benfica. I went to Benfica. Gary Caldwell sold the jerseys.
Aye. I was there. I was in where was I? We're at Damar or something in holiday with Suzanne. I was billing, and ever since then it was like, we don't book holidays during the season. If I'm booking it, that's fine. Don't you book it? I can take the hit myself, but I don't letting somebody else book me a holiday. And she goes, "I'm not."
We done that last year because we got to Santa Ponza. So it was like the year before last, and what we done was the Kilmarnock game. I says to Laura and Amy, I says, why don't we be in Santa Ponza for the first game of the season just to see what it's all about? And we went and watched it in Celtic's well, but when we made it, like, I'd rather just be at the game.
Aye, so on to that, obviously you're talking about Amy. A lot of us is your missus, Amy's your daughter. How is that going to the football with your own, mate? How's
But
that experience?
I love it. I love taking her. I love taking her to the games. As I said, it was a Celtic upbringing that I wish I had. Now, when I hear people talking about, oh, I was at games when I was away, and I didn't really get too many games away. And obviously, my mum and dad were young and they have the door. So luckily enough, I've got to take her to next away games that I can get to if I'm not offshore. Took her to her first European game this season, to Bologna. And that was good. And that was my first European game since Aalborg. Away game. So that was the first time. I was at Villa and I was at Man City, but I don't class that as going to an away game.
They're just down the road. I'm the same as you, mate. Still the same. We've not actually went anywhere. We've just been down the road in a bus.
Unless you're using your passport, you're not. Know what I mean? So Aalborg was then that one. So it was good to take her there. She's been to most stadiums in Scotland. And I think the only ones that she's not been to is Ibrox, Tynecastle, Falkirk.
It's pretty hard, but the three grounds, even Aberdeen's hard as well. But the three you've mentioned, Falkirk's got a reduced capacity. Tynecastle's again tight capacity, and Ibrox we know it is because they spat the dummy and threw the toys out the pram because we started too many times. We should get there this season. Can it?
Definitely. I know I've got good faith that she'll get to Aberdeen next week. And I'm a wee bit hopeful I can dig one out for one of the Ibrox trips.
No. I think obviously no this Sunday probably a bit hard, but the cup one's probably a bit easier because a lot of if what they're saying is if you're at a Talbot game, you're getting a ticket. That's the feeling I'm getting. Know what I mean?
It
wasn't as easy. It wasn't as easy as that. I know. Well, I didn't get my email till to the day.
As I'm on the bus, I don't get the emails. The bus deals with all the tickets, so I never know if I've got one or not.
Do you know obviously?
Have you ever seen it work?
E-ticketing.
Have you ever seen it work? Have you ever seen the history work?
It comes up and tells you you've paid for something, but you paid your season, but you've moved a seat. Tell me all that on mine when I moved my seat and all that, but then it was there and then it disappeared and then it came back and I was like, that's fine. I've been to more games than that and you go to question it, know what I mean? But hopefully and see when you go to games, do you just, this is the thing, like, obviously I'm like Chloe, my daughter didn't start going to the football until she's been to a few games, but she didn't start going until maybe 2 seasons ago. She's 27. And she's only started, and it's like, I'm like, that's fine. Let's go with this now because it's like something she's wanting to get into, and I'm not going to turn around and say, no, you're not going to football. Know what I mean? I've come home sometimes and I'm like, turn that down, get that off. Know what I mean? How? I'm listening to that. I'm like, I know, but the neighbours don't want to hear it. And then I'm saying to myself, that was me. 20, 30 years ago, that was me. But I'm like, no, but go with it. Do what you want. Know what I mean?
So I had one season ticket. Then Amy would use it. But when I was going offshore, I would just keep to one of my pals. She'll use that while I'm away. I would never ask for any remuneration. But you take it, man. And when I hear people charging for season tickets, I'm on, man, screwing a nut. You've already paid for it.
You're no going.
So
that's how people use my book, guy. But I'm like you, mate. People go, what have you done? And I always say to people, ask me, I'll try and get you a ticket. And if I can, I'll let you use mine. Know what I mean? And I can, and if I need to, if I go, like I can get 2 tickets, but I need to buy one for myself. I'll give you the 2. Just you pay me half of what I'm paying. So pay half of mine. Know what I mean? And they're like, what? I said, well, I'm paying 60 quid for a lounge pass, say for instance, half a boy, right? I said, I'll split it. You give me 30. That means you can take the way in for 30 quid. I'm getting in. I've already bought my ticket, but I'm paying. And they're like, well, you paying another £30 for, but to help you get the game, I'm not. Don't worry about it. Know what I mean? I'm wanting to do it because it's the next generation. As I say, I've said this a few times, mate. It's very hard for future generations, your fans, to get to the football unless we're doing what we're doing, passing the book and giving somebody the opportunity.
I remember once when I eventually got 2 season tickets. On my brother, and I was like, Colin, do you want to do us a favour, mate? I says, do you want to see the Jota game when Jota chipped McGregor? I says, do you want to take the win? Do you want to go to the game and take the win? And he's like, I was like, do you just phone me and ask for a favour for me to go to the Celtic Rangers game? I was like, you're off your nut. I was like, just in case you had something on. So he went round, picked up the rain, took her to the game, brought her home. But no, then she just started going herself. So when I was working offshore, I'd give her the ticket. So we've got two together now in the North Upper control. So it's quite a good seat. We've got two together. This is the first season we've had two together. So it's been good.
Good stuff. Long may it continue, mate. And that's what it's about. It's about, obviously, you've got a good relationship, father and daughter, but it's even more a bond because you're going to the games together and experiencing that. And as you say, like, that'll bring in, and you wanted that, but you didn't get it. And it wasn't through because your man dad didn't want to give you. They just didn't have opportunities. The same as my mum and dad. And that's, we didn't have it back then. And I was, again, I'll go back to being very fortunate living near Celtic Park. I used to, big man, I watch your motor, as soon as 20 minutes before kick-off, my street was full. Hot foot it, straight to Celtic Park, going to lift his air, mate. You know what I mean? You're in and then you're in and running, the guy see, you're supposed to be watching my motor. Oh no, it's my brother, mate. It's my brother. And I'd leave 5-10 minutes early, run back down the road and big man watch your car for the money. And that's it. I done that and I done my papers and I bought my first half-season book. I bought a first half-season book. Used to just go up and get in and all that, and then it was a boys' gate. It was like £1, £2 or something back in the day, you know what I mean? But when I got my first half-season book, it was the season before. I only bought it because we were going to Hampden the next season. So the Celtic Park was getting hanged done. So my uncle was like, you better get yourself a half-season book. It was like £38 or something, right? Something daft like that. Get yourself a half-season book because then you're on that shoe in for when you go to Hampden, you'll get a book. We'll all put in together, we'll all get seats together. So that's what we did. So we ended up, we had 6 seasons together at Hampden for that season at Hampden. And then we came back to Celtic Park. We go section 110, row H. It was 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. That was the seats we had. Basically, literally, like eight rows from where I was in the standing section. You know what I mean? Eight seats away and 3 rows away or something. But I ended up giving my book up for one season, which was I hated the fact that they got rid of Tommy Burns, and I said, I'm not going back, and I chucked it. But I was keeping buying tickets, and I said, I need to get my book back. I need to get a book back. So I ended up with back on, got a book, and I was, because they'd sold my seat next to them, I couldn't move back to the family. I was tapped here at the Rangers end, and I was sitting. I'll forget this. It was the week before the Celtic Rangers game, and it says, for anybody sitting in the upper stand, blah blah blah, if you want a ticket, contact this number, because I had a special season, but I wasn't allowed a ticket. Celtic moved you. And I went, I want my ticket. I'm at the game saying, I want my ticket changed. The guy's like, it doesn't open till Monday, mate. You need to phone me on Monday. No, I want it done now. And eventually I got it changed and we get moved. And I was in 4-4-4 right up to the Baltic Stoning section. And then just this season, I just had enough of it last season, mate. I just couldn't be bothered with the band stuff and all that. And the flares, the flags. I couldn't get to see the game. I loved the atmosphere within it. I loved all that side of it. And people are like, it's because you're getting old. And I'm like, it's not to do with that, because when I go to away games, I love it.
You say that, Amy, when I like last season, I was doing game by game off my bus. I was getting a ticket bus game by game. Then Amy was taking the season ticket, but Amy was just getting in early, waiting until all the Green Brigade went in, sneaking in with the Green Brigade into the standing section. And then eventually, and she's only 15, she was 14 at the time, she was like, I'm not getting to see the game, I'm not getting to, no. So then she came back when to sit where we normally sit. And then I was having to sit with a designated seat that I was getting. I had a world tour of the stadium. I was in every stand, for every game.
Aye, but that's it. And I moved this season. I was just fortunate, very, very fortunate, mate, that I got. It was like a couple of days before the deadline to move your seat. They sent us an email, said, if you want to move this as the seats that are available, you need to decide what you want. And they just showed me 100 seats or something up the top tier. And I went, I don't want to sit in the top tier. I've been there, done that. I'm not climbing stairs again. And I just, for some madness, I just looked behind the goal to the Celtic end, and there was this one single seat, row G, 144, seat 10. And I clicked on it. And it's like, that's your seat changed. And I'm literally 7 rows behind my mate Kevin, 4 rows in front of my other mate Kevin and Mark, boys that go to football and that, go to Fanat as well. And then on the left hand side across the aisle is my 2 uncles that I used to go to football years ago. But you know what I mean? That's the only ones that are left. I was free.
But it's brilliant in that, Toby, innit? Because see, when you think about it, right? So see all my pals, like obviously because I've moved through here, don't see my pals as much as what I used to. Now, obviously, we're still in group chats and all that, and we still have the like Cheltenham nights out and stuff. Get to see them at the fitba every week. And so it keeps like your relationship with your pals now, instead of now you get to your age and you're like, oh, I used to be pals with him, I used to know him years ago.
Yep.
You're still seeing your pals every game, you know what I mean? And it keeps that
Aye,
bond.
still
So
keep that's it. It's keeping that going. It's keeping the friendship alive, keeping the bond, as you said there. And I've met you, Bushby, like you're saying. We've had our pals growing up, but we've got so many mates now through the
our
football.
pals.
You know what I mean? Football pals. I know that you only meet at games. And I mean, when I remember I was moving for 444. The two guys in front, Franny and John, are like, where you going? I says, I'm moving to the Stonning section. Oh, you're kidding on? Wait, what for? Because I'd sit with him that long, know what I mean? And they were like, we can't believe you're moving. And I said, I'm a number and all that. We'll still meet you for a pint before the game or after the game. And they're like, oh, no, if you're moving seats, that's us finished and all that. But aye, just mental. But there is so many good guys out there and good women and all. Here. I've got a wee Mary who I'm meeting off of Broxburn CSCA. I met Mary. I was quite fortunate to do something for Celtic in an advert, and Mary was in it with me and on. I still speak to her at every single game I go to. She looks for me. An old boy Jack as well for Cumbernauld. I met him on holiday. He seen my Celtic towel. Been mates ever since. Swap numbers. See him at every game. Always look for each other. Just things like that. It's totally different, mate. You know yourself. You go on holiday, see a guy with a Celtic tat. You acknowledge it. You acknowledge the person because they've got the tap on.
I've got a theory, right? And I see when you bump into a Celtic fan, he's a good guy until he proves himself otherwise. If you bump into a Hun, he's a wank until he proves himself otherwise.
You're not here. You're no for half a truth here. That's definitely it. So let's get back to it. Games leading the last. Obviously, we've had the treble, the double treble, quadruple, the treble and the quadruple. Also had the invincible season. If you could live any one of them again, what would it be?
Out of the seasons, I'm going to go for the one that we beat Motherwell in the cup final.
Right.
Because there's a wee sort of like, that was Amy's communion year to win the Scottish Cup, and my communion year was Frank McAvenny against Dundee United. So the two won the Scottish Cups in our communion years. I never got to that game. I watched that the days when you used to get the couch in front of the couch was pulled out in front of the telly, and all the Celtic scarves were all on it, scarves and flags hanging out the windies and all that. And so that was probably my first ever game that I remember in Celtic. It was in the centenary year. I was only 7. Too young to remember like the season. I can't remember anything about the season. Obviously, I probably got that rehashed memory because I've watched that season review that many times. But the Scottish Cup final was my first memory.
It's etched in your mind. You watched it, you've seen it. You can actually say, "No, I remember seeing that live as it happened."
Oh, and that one meant a lot to Amy as well. I think she still says that was her favourite cup final. She's been to Hampden. She's been to Hampden more times than I've been to Celtic Park by the time I was her age. You know what I mean? So
that's it. And they've been spoiled, mate. I say to my nieces, my nephews, and all that they've been spoiled the last while. You know what I mean? And they need to realise that it's. We know it's not going to last forever. We would love it to last forever, but at least give a chance to keep it going. That's all I ask. Just give a chance to keep it going.
I'm a very, very, very forgiving person. I always try and look at the bright side of life, and this whole thing with the board now, it pisses me off because I do believe a lot of their things is self-inflicted. Excuse me, but they've got that much right. They've got that much right leading up to this season that I'm cutting them a bit of slack. Obviously, I want the fans back, and I think there needs to be a middle ground between the fans and. But I'm after a wee tangent there. But there needs to be a middle ground, mate. And that age, I've not got a horse in the fight, a duck in the fight. Just wish they'd square it up and get it sorted.
Aye, I think most people are under the same idea, mate, the same banner as you. Like, let's get round the table and sit down and talk. What I turn around and say to people is, see, between now and the end of the season, and people might not like this, it might be a bit controversial, right? But they should just go in, the GB or whoever's banned, right? The groups sort of that are banned should just go in and say, listen, we want to come back. We'll come back under your terms to the end of the season, and then we'll sit down at the end of the season and we'll decide where we go for there. Because the only thing that's happening is the team on the pitch. The atmosphere isn't there. The team are struggling a wee bit with this year, and I don't blame them for making a stance, because they're making a stance. Whether I agree with it or no is irrelevant. That's what their passion is, and that's what they want to do. Know what I mean? So we've all got an opinion on it. Whether your opinion's the same as mine, it doesn't really matter, because that's what an opinion is. And are they right or they wrong? It's an opinion, and that's their opinion. So fair play to them for sticking to their guns. Just on that, I don't know if you've seen. I'd like to think, mate. I'd like to think so on that running, and then because we'll get massive games coming up in the next few weeks as well. But I don't know if you've seen the night. It was on Go Radio, Willie Hockey.
Seen a wee bit of it. I've not had a chance to look into it, because I've seen something like he's pledging. I don't know the ins and outs yet. I'll probably have a wee look at it tonight when I'm sitting watching the rest of it.
Aye, so he's turned around and says that for every 10,000 Celtic fans who sign up to this Celtic, so it's Celtic Season Ticket Alliance or something. Celtic Season Ticket Alliance Trust, something like that, or the Season Ticket Alliance Trust. It's irrelevant what it's called, but for every fan that signs up to it, or so you give them your phone number and your email, whatever, one or the other. That's how you sign up. He's going to put somebody in place, and for every 10,000 fans that sign up, he's going to donate £2 million. So 50,000 Celtic fans sign up to this. That's £10 million that he's going to give this Celtic Season Ticket Alliance to purchase. If there is any shares, to purchase shares, or when the shares become available, then you can buy them. So that's what the whole thing is about. So he came across quite well when he was saying it. It sounds really good. And he's saying, I'm not going against the collective, I'm not going against the trust. And Mark Weedy was asking me that as well. So all the next days and weeks, we'll find out a lot more about that. But he's wanting to stump up the money for that to get rolled out. He doesn't want anything off it. He doesn't want to be involved with it. He's wanting to pay somebody to take control of that. And he's already spoke to somebody, says, a Celtic legend, to front it. Sutton, you think it's Sutton?
Did Sutton not say something the other day that he would like to be some sort of mediatory between the fans and the board?
But this isn't to do with that. This is to do with like the purchasing shares. See, like the Celtic Trust are doing. Celtic Trust have been doing it for years, purchasing up shares and to try and get an inroad into the board, to get a fan on the board, to then have a voice for the fans. Know what I mean? So that's what they're pushing. That's what it is. So I was thinking to myself, who would it be? Who have I seen Willie Hockey be talking to a lot about Celtic Park? And for me, it's Tom Boyd. That's my thinking. It's just my thinking. It's Tom Boyd. He's
my neighbour.
Tom Boyd's. He's always controversial. He's always back Celtic. He doesn't let anybody say it wrong, but Celtic, he'll always back them. Whether he thinks that they're wrong, it doesn't matter. They're right in his eyes, and I love that. Be somebody. But it'll be interesting to see how that progresses in the next few weeks and months. That
Tom Boyd's dad, God rest his soul, I knew him very well. I know his sister Helen very well as well. Tom's a wee bit older, and when he used to play for Motherwell, and then in the evening times used to have the centrefolds. I used to go into his houses away and get him to sign it. So then his dad sees what a lovely guy he was, Tom Boyd Senior. Used to see him in the pubs in Baillieston or Broomhouse, and just have a pint with him and just talk about just privacy like what we're doing now, and it would just be like this, and amazing times. He was a great man. But I had to get that wee bit out there.
No, that's it. And Jim, his brother Jim as well, Jim Boyd. So I know Jim quite a bit. I've done a bit of work with him, youth work and things like that. When I was in,
because he was quite high up in the CID or something like that.
Aye. I didn't know that until after it. He said, by the way, do you know I was opposed? I said, can I get less, mate? You know what I mean? He's like, just so you, because he was doing rugby and all that at the time. He was right into rugby. Jim was into rugby, whereas Thomas was always said, Tommy was into football. He was the brains of the operation. I was just getting hurt, whereas Tommy was getting out the way he tackles and making money. But I understand where they are on that with the situation of getting fans on board. But I do want to see what this is going to transpire into for Willie Hockey. But what I noticed somebody else earlier on about it was, why now? Why now? Why so far down the line? Why is it got to this stage where he's done? Has he been thinking about it for a while, or is he? I mean, because he says he's not going against the board. He spoke to some people on the board about it and told them about it. It's not about to get rid of Dermot Desmond. It's not about that. He respects what he's done for Celtic, and I do as well. I respect what the board have done for his early period of time. But I think we do need change. We need freshening up. We need new blood in there. We need up-to-date ideas and somebody to take us that wee next step. And I'm not saying the next step is going and making an assault at winning the Champions League. Far from it, mate. It's just to take us that next step where giving yourself a chance or opportunity to compete at that level. And maybe reaching the knockout stages every year and year is for me is enough. And if you can get a wee bit further every other year, then so be it. But ultimately, bread and butter for us is the league, mate. That brings us on nicely to obviously this weekend. This weekend coming up, we've got the derby. What's your thoughts? Like after we watched the Stuttgart game tonight, what's your thoughts then for the upcoming game on Sunday?
I know my thoughts are probably different again. Again, it's opinions. But opinions are like arseholes. Everybody's got one and they often stink. Is that the saying? Right, so for me, must not lose game because there's still enough to be played. And even if we do lose, but it's only two. If we do lose and we beat Aberdeen, then we're only 2 points behind them getting into the. You know what I mean? It's no detrimental. We just if we can get out there if we can get out there unbeaten, then we beat and then we can beat Aberdeen at Pittodrie. And that sets us up nicely. I've got a funny feeling Heart will drop points as well.
Well, they've got a bit of injury worries and order, certainly, because they've lost the big signing is out for the rest of the season, the guy that they brought in. And another boy in midfield is out for, they're saying, probably 6-7 games. And they've already got their captains out, Shankland's out, Devlin's out, Craig Gordon's also out as well. So the backup keeper, if something happens to the goal, they've not got a world-class keeper coming in that's an international to take his place. So
keep him hard, hit him hard in the first minute. No, see, like I hate the Huns, and I hate Hearts. Like just like they're like very close. My opinion is, see this season playing like a team that would be third in the league. They've just had the perfect storm. So when they went through the Russell Martin and dropped all 8 points, and us with the Wilfred Nancy and Brendan Rodgers, these stupid points that he dropped. Well, if we drop half the points that we dropped, then we'd be comfortably above Hearts. You know what I mean? And 7 games. When have we ever lost? Even in the COVID season, we only lost 5 games. We've never lost this. So how we are still in a title fight, I will never know. So Hearts,
because everybody else in about is as bad as well. That's what it is.
So Hearts,
they're bad time.
Hearts aren't having any different season for what they normally would have had. Just that we've been below, but way below. You know what I mean? And that's what's kept.
Well below par, and so is Rangers as well. Would you say?
No.
Having the Russell Martin situation, us having the Rodgers madness, Wilfred Nancy. I still say to people, I don't know if you agree with me here, that if we'd have left Martin O'Neill in charge instead of bringing in Nancy to the end of the season,
we'd have a cup in the state.
I think we would be sitting top of the league in a cup in the bank, and we might actually get through this leg as well tonight against Stuttgart because we're in a better place.
No, I agree with that. But the rule, you see Huns and they say like the rule of what if, you know what I mean? So they think it only applies to them. So we're where we are. I tell people that I think the league's gone. And I tell people it's done, but we'll not win the league now. But deep down, I'm like that.
So my thing with that is as well, leading up to this game, you're fearful that we're not doing really well. We've lost a player, maybe injuries, and what's the formation we're going to play? I can't see where it's coming from. I don't know how we're going to get there. and then you see they play the night and you go, hold on a minute, that's your second string that's out there basically. That's our backup guys who come in and play bit parts and change a game during a game we need them. They've done a really good job out there. And then we're brought on with other guys near the end, and then you say, I'm actually looking forward to this now. I think we've got opportunity. We've got a chance here. We play the way we can play. Because both of the defences are leaking goals, mate. They're leaking goals. They're no good at keeping clean sheets either. You know what I mean? They're either had a wee bit of form leading into this, which is great. But as we all know, it doesn't matter how much form you've got coming into these games. It goes right out the window.
As Einstein said, the definition of madness is keep doing the same thing and expecting different results. And that's pretty much what we've been doing. We've been playing the same team, the same formations. We've been getting the last minute goals and we've been struggling. Then the night we change it up massively. And we go out there and we had a rain against a Stuttgart who's only been beaten once before this season, and that was against Bayern Munich. So put it this way. When I was running the day listening to your first, I think it was the first episode of what you've done. It's like, I'm going to go and hear pure doom and gloom tonight, because I was expecting that to be lambs to the slaughter today. Now I'm thinking, wait a wee minute here. If we can go there, we're merely capable. We're capable of beating them, put it that way. You know what I mean? But then again, on the other foot, we're capable of being beaten.
Aye, but we're capable of beating them, but we're also capable of beating ourselves with silly mistakes. And I didn't see that tonight. I didn't see any gambling happening at the back. I didn't see any silly passes across the back four at times when you didn't want it. If the opportunity was there to get rid of the body, played it into a space, they played it out the park, or they didn't take any chances. And that's what ultimately needs to happen at the weekend. We need to take chances in the final third. You know what I mean?
I don't know who got man of the match tonight, but for me, obviously, because as soon as the game finished, Amy took the remote and turned it out of the darts, and I never really got to see who got man of the match. But for me, Sriracha was man of the match tonight.
Aye, I thought he was good as well, mate. Running, shutting everything down. I mean, full of energy, and I like that. And I think that's why come Sunday that he can play that position and Tierney can move in one. Know what I mean?
Aye.
I don't know what your thoughts. What would be your starting 11 for the weekend?
My starting 11 would be Sinisalo. He earned his place tonight. And as I says in a group chat, I goes before the game, I says I'm hoping for Sinisalo has our David Marshall in by Barcelona, and then follows it up with a David Marshall at Ibrox. Unfortunately, that was my first European away game and my first time at Ibrox, in fact.
Well, it wasn't bad then.
I'm hoping for that. So Sinisalo, Sriracha, Tierney, Ailes, Hawaro. I don't know his name. So a player back five. Back the Ox and Nygren and Tenecti. Then four, and then I've got one more. Put Big Tam on to start with. Then put Niggy and Iniacho, because Iniacho looked quite sharp when he came on tonight.
Aye. See, I would love to have a 4-4-2, mate. The old 4-4-2 and have a go. I know maybe not this weekend, but maybe that like the Aberdeen game coming up, because they're in a bit of a bad position themselves. You know what I mean? They're doing there. It's very, very unlikely they're going to make the top six, even if they do beat us, which I can't see, because I think we're going to go out there and we'll get a result in Aberdeen. It needs to be done, and I'm sure that the players will be up for it. You know what I mean? Irrelevant to what the result is at the weekend, I'm sure the players will be up for it. But I think whatever team turns up at the weekend, whatever team starts with, they need to be right on the ball, mate. They need to be 110% on it for the first whistle. They need to be sharp. They need to be no making mistakes, no taking any chances.
We've got no more misses to be had. Everything needs to be flawless now for now at the end of the season. And it takes you back to that season. Was it down and out in April, champions in May?
Aye. That was we were on a run of 8. Was it 8, 9?
Won it for
8 or
Tommy.
9 on. That's it. That was it, mate. So I mean, I don't know. Let's think what else we've covered. We've covered it all. We've covered that. Covered all the different favourite players. Who would have been your favourite player growing up, mate? Because we've been through all the different other stuff.
Right, so my obvious answer, right, is who was like my ultimate hero was a Maestro. Now growing up, but then I was in a team like with Darius. Now teams like Darius Jackanoski and stuff like that.
Jerry
you know
Craney
what I mean?
and
Jerry Craney, scoring against the
Darius Dobchecked.
Aye. So
I mean,
they were like, that was like the Celtic team. So when I watched like the all Celtic videos and like Frank McAvenny and all that, them, Henrik Larsson's like, I think if you're asking this question, you should say barring Henrik Larsson, who would be, you know what I mean? So it's Henrik Larsson's the answer to everybody that, isn't he? Moravcik was amazing. So growing up, it would have been in the 80s, Jackanoski and stuff like that. Next day, the 90s, Pierre Van Hooijdonk, Di Canio Cadet, moving into the 2000s. God. I don't know how old I'm, Hooper and stuff like that, because that'd still be the 2000s, wasn't it?
Aye, mate, aye.
The 11, Hooper.
I feel like Joe Ledley and things like that are on 18. I mean, a lot of players.
I'll never forget Joe's chip at Joe's chip at against Kamalo when we won the league, didn't they? Mind that?
Mate, there's so many players out there, that you not forgot about them, but you just you don't remind about them, if that makes sense. Somebody says, you go, oh, I remember him, remember this, remember that, I remember him. It's like, if I was to turn in and say to you, like, first player you think of when you see that strip?
Joe Ledley.
You know what I mean? First player you think of when you see that strip?
Paul Hartley.
No, aye, exactly. So, and I've got that. I know that as soon as I see a strip, I identify it with a player. And people say, but why? That's just it is. That's the way it is.
There's a size to it. Every Celtic strip is got a player attached to it. One player attached to it.
It sticks in your head. It's so ingrained in your memory that's it. It's like I see like the remember the big hoops. So we had the big hoops. It was had Celtic through. Remember what year was it? It was 90. I should know this because it was Paul Burns one, 93, 94. It was a big hoop and it was C.R. Smith.
And the Umbro, the green shaded Umbro in them.
Yep, aye. C.R. Smith was right, and it was C.R. Smith. So Willie Faulkner and things like that played in it, know what I mean? But Pat McGinley, John Collins. But Paul Byrne for me, it's always Paul Byrne I see in that strip. Know what I mean? It's just Paul Byrne I see in that strip. And I don't know if it's because I liked him or is it just because he signed and that was his big season? He scored that goal against Rangers outside of the boot and he was doing that, like sitting in the flare, bucket in the rain. And I don't know.
Paul Byrne's more famous. Paul Byrne's more famous for me for his viral in the dressing room picture. Have you ever seen that?
Aye. Oh my God. Mate, you know what? His boy was playing for Hibs here for a while, I'm sure I know. Like a couple of seasons back, I think it was. And he was here quite a bit. But he's a character, put it that way. You know what I mean? But strips wise, players wise and all, players for me it's that you do identify or you say that you're a player there. Like Brian O'Neill, people always say what strip with Brian O'Neill. Brian O'Neill for me was one of the guys played at the back of the year with no sponsor. That's how I always remember that strip. Brian O'Neill played no strip, and then we had like a black Celtics tap. It was Brian O'Neill, the black and green. The green would do the way with a wee white stripe through it. Things like that. But there's so much out there, mate. And as you say, like you've got all these strips. I would like to see. You need to send us a picture of that, mate, when you're having your next gathering and get everybody with taps on. We'll get it on the page. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
Because I sometimes what I do is I've got one of the beds that go up now. The air beds. I'm saying an air bed. It's like hydraulic or something. I don't know, but I've got 5-6 boxes under that just for the Celtic stuff. You know what I mean? And every now and again I'll take them out, wash them, dry them, fold them all back up, put them all back in, put them back under the bed.
Jamie's got my Bumblebee tap for one of them. You know what I mean? And then I'm looking through. I'm like, where is that? And then about 2-3 years later, he sends us a picture of him drinking on his couch. I'm like, it's my tap. that back, didn't he?
Brilliant, mate, brilliant. Oh man, my God, mate, that Dazzler, it's been amazing, mate. I've actually enjoyed it.
It was as good as what I thought it was going to be.
It's just about sitting, having a wee laugh, talking, nothing serious, just about the struggles of your team now, but ultimately growing up, supporting the Celtic and what it means to you, and passing that on to the future generations. And I'm very fortunate enough to know your daughter as well, know how daft she is on Celtic as well, how mad she is at football. She likes playing football and all that. Know what I mean? And she doesn't pass me. I know. Well, at the moment she's retired, but you never know. But again, even when you're not there this year, she always says hello as well. Know what I mean? So that's a testament.
You see, and you countless away games I've seen. Yeah, so just my wee sort of part, and it's what somebody says in an interview outside Celtic Park. A Celtic fan getting interviewed, and they says the greatest gift that my mum and dad ever gave me was
Celtic.
Can I believe that?
That's a good thing. The greatest gift they can ever give you is Celtic. Well, mate, we'll leave it there. The greatest gift that we can ever give each other is talking about Celtic and embracing Celtic. So, Dazzler, thank you very much, mate. I really appreciate it. And I'll catch you very soon.
Definitely, mate.
Hail until the next one.
Hail, Toby.
See you later on.
With a 4-leaf clover on my breast, and the green and white upon my chest, it's such a joy for us to see, 'cause the play football